Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Backpacktrader training room for Tuesday, June 28th, 2022. Please note the required risk disclosure. This room is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not to be considered financial advice. Results are hypothetical and not necessarily typical. There is risk of loss in trading commodity futures, forex, equities, options, and crypto of any kind, and can be substantial. All right. Been in fact kind of an active morning this morning. All right, the YM has gone too far, so we'll be looking for a new setup there. Let me get my chat set up here. All right. Good morning, Steve, Pamela, Miles. Good to see everybody this morning. All right. We're less than a minute away from open now. Yeah, just barely a minute and 50 seconds to go. Soybeans had two add-ons, but they've both hit money management. So we have a get in sync short. The long never triggered and did cancel ultimately. So we can get in sync on the short from 6:51 in the morning. And markets are open. And that popped through our... That's actually a valid trade because we're not in the short. So we should be in the long now. We're in hybrid mode. So since we're not in a short trade, that is a valid long trade at 48.50. And the short get in sync comes off the table. YM moving up. Russell heating oil has had a pretty good sized dip there. The Russell pretty quiet so far this morning, but picking up a short and taking heat on that. Yep. Actually, I looked earlier this morning, Miles. There's one listed at 10:30 and another listed at 10 as tentative, or at least that was the case an hour or so ago, an hour and a half ago. So we will go ahead and have a normal 10 a.m. crude session this morning. And soybeans hitting target 1 and target 2 on that grayed out trade. That was a hybrid mode reversal, but it was why that was filtered, but it's valid because we were not already in a trade. And therefore, we have target 2 and got close to target 3, got within 1 tick of target 3. That's a take profit situation. And then that would have stopped out at 51.50. Yeah, so it would have stopped out at 51.0. Yeah, it would have stopped out at 51.0. And that would be a one and done on soybeans. Nothing yet on the YM. The Russell did stop out and reversed to long. 4 seconds on that bar. 9 seconds on the third bar. Fairly good chance you could have gotten into that trade. So that's a solid win. Target 3 and a nice strong trailer. Oh boy, EIA still having problems. So both tentative tomorrow. That's wonderful. So we'll play that by ear and see how it goes. Yeah, if they haven't been able to put out last week's report in any time in the last week, and then now they've got this week's report on a tentative status, something's definitely wrong. Pound Aussie with no trades yet. All right, let's take a look at crude. It was a little tough this morning on the full contract. That trade is too early. So our first trade is the trade off the EMA, 200 EMA here. And that starts off too fast, but you can get in sync with it. Looks like it's heading toward money management, but then pulls back, and we get a stop and reverse at 111.22. Just ticks us in. Actually, that is right on the 50 EMA. I would push that down. I'd probably push it down to at least 20, maybe 19, but then you're getting into the 200, and you're also making a 5-tick adjustment. Or 3. I'd push that to 19, and you end up staying in the long and just touching money management. So that would be a break even on the long. And then you get the second long that gives you 2 targets of 10 and 16 ticks. So if you make the adjustment there, you get a break even and a solid winner for a 2 and done session. Micro crude, go back here where that started, pick up something pretty similar, and it comes up, just touches for a break-even trade. No entry on the short or the long, and ultimately we get this long down here that gives us a target 2 and 3, 11 and 16 ticks, and a small trailer. So 2 and done there as well. And there's our first trade of the morning on the YM. Short at 8.29. Yeah, 25 seconds, definitely in that. Lots of time to get in. I just wasn't watching it. $34 tick target, getting close to money management. Had pushed through session highs. Now this is very likely to be a reaction trade, but almost getting to money management. Is it going to continue back up or come down? So crude doing well this morning. Unleaded had a trade signal at a minute 9:01:10, but it just went way too. In 3 seconds, it was halfway between target 1 and target 2, so too fast to catch on that one. So we pick up, get in sync on the long. Actually, since it bounced off the 50, I probably would have, you'd have gotten in sync with it anyway, because it pulled back down to the balance line, then came back up again to the session high. So you'd have been in that either any way you pushed it. There wasn't a good place to adjust around. But then you come back to a stop and reverse. That would actually be stop and reverse at 78. I didn't move that hits target 2 for 58 ticks and trails way down here. Trailer goes all the way down to 73.51 from the entry at 74.78. So 127 ticks on the trailer. So 58 on the target and 127, actually 127 on the trail. 185 ticks on the day. Approaching $1,000 trade. And still in the short on the YM. It's come down almost to money management again and rejected. In consolidation at the moment. All right, the initial long trade was nice. Looks like we got a break even short on the second long. $15-second bar in there, so chances are you were in that. Then the short, looks like no real good way to avoid it unless you just don't take the pullbacks. Goes for a actually, let's see. That looks like may have been avoidable as it hit target 1 and came back and gave you a money management. So you may not have been able to get into it. If you got into it prior to that, it's a break even. So a win, 2 break evens, and we come to another long. Four seconds on bar 2, 9 seconds on bar 3. Fairly good chance to probably have gotten into that. Makes target 3. Keeps trailing target 4. And we're in that trade at the moment. And our YM trade has hit money management and target 1. Stop is now at 818. That'll be a one and done session there. Miles, can you look on the EIA website and see if they have anything up about what the issues are, and do they really expect to have a report out tomorrow? Or watch if you're not in the middle of trading something right now. If you didn't take the grayed out soybeans trade, you pick up the subsequent long that meanders about for a while and just exploded up through targets 1 and 2 and headed for target 3. Okay, thank you. That helps. I'll let Troy know so he's aware of that. All right. Russell stopped out for a second winner and 2 break evens. Sets up another long there. That's still a valid long because it hasn't hit the entry yet. And there's a short. And back into the short because you got plenty of time to get in on that third bar. See where this is going to go. The YM stops out at 797, it looks like. And that it completes a one and done session there. We will leave the long trade alone. And another short off the SMA. That we also will leave alone. Target 3 on soybeans. And I never did move that up. It would have been there or if you took the gray trade. Money management is there on the trade we're in that came subsequent to that if you didn't use the gray trade. Ooh. Thank you, Miles. EIA saying they're not saying when they can release, but they say that we will release as soon as possible. And that's wonderful, giving us lots of information. So the market is likely to be a little jittery for a while. So that's kind of where we are right now. Let's take a look in on the MNQ. Go back to our start time, 8:34 Central, so 9:34 on my chart. Looks like we were there 1 second before, so went too far on the short. Long was a full loss. Short was avoidable. And the long was also avoidable. So we have one loss and too fast to trade. Short, 1 second, still 1, 2, 4. Yeah, 4 seconds to the fourth bar, and then we hit money management without coming back. So that one's too fast to catch. Then we get a long, no seconds, no seconds, no seconds. 4 bars printing in the same second. Set up in the next 3. 2 more. 2 bars in that 2 seconds. So we're just 4 seconds in, and we're way up here. That one's too far to go get in. Another no trade. That is a valid short. That goes for a full stops. So that's 2 full stops. And we have another short, 5 second bar. 6, 6, 7. I would say that probably it hit target 1. Now it has not hit money management yet, so going that far, I'd definitely wait for it to, with that much of a pullback, to get to entry. I would hold off, because you're likely to get and you're just getting a crossover right here. So you see that coming, probably, as it comes. And you wouldn't have quite seen it coming, but you'd have seen it come right together. So I would have held off on that to see if it didn't come back down. But the fact that you already been in that, but so 1 second, 2 seconds, and lots of time on that one. The question is, what does that bar look like? If you're in it, it's a third stop out. That would end the session. Looks like an avoidable long. And then a short that Oh yeah, short would have lots of time to have gotten in. Target 2 and a small trailer. But not a good session on the MNQ this morning. Okay, that was our Russell. We didn't trigger the long. Short was a full stop. The long stopped out. Probably pulled back too fast to trade. Well, I don't know. That pulled back to the stop and then came back up. Oh, that's tough. Chances are that pulled back and went to the stop, pulled back too quickly to get in, but went to the stop. But that's another full loss if you're in it. Not bad trading, but not in too good a shape there on the Russell. See what we've got on heating oil. 8:30 start. Looks like no trigger on the initial trade. And we have a short trade. Makes target 3 and 4. Question is, how much time did we have? 4 seconds to money management, so that one's too fast to trade. And just make those non-visible for the moment so that they're not causing us trouble. Eight seconds on that one. Probably a fair possibility for an entry on that. Target 3 and a small trail. One second to money management on the short. That one's too fast. Lots of time. Plenty of time to get in that long trade. The question is, did it go through? No, that was few seconds. Wasn't moving that rapidly. Target 3 and 4. And nice trail up above target 4. So that's 2 wins on the longs. The shorts have been too fast. That's 5 seconds to money management. That's another one that's probably too fast. Plenty of time to get in sync with that if you missed it the first time. Targets 3 and 4 on this third long trade. And another really strong trailer. That's third big win and a big trailer on that one. And I would call that a session. Interesting heating oil moving as well as it is in the middle of summer. Or actually right at the beginning. We're just 2 weeks into summer. Summer officially started a week or so, just the 21st. Say 22nd. So we're just a week into summer, really, and the heating oil is moving very nicely. Not necessarily what you'd expect for the time for heating oil to be moving that much. So 4 minutes to 10 o'clock. We've got the crude oil inventory. Well, we got the 10 o'clock session. There's not an inventory session, excuse me. Okay, that trade has gone too far, so we'll look for a new trade at 10 o'clock. And there's the first. I see a trade. First trade of the morning on Pound Aussie. A short at 75.96. And a new long on crude at 110.66. That'll be a potential get in sync, at least at the moment. Small trade, money management's just below target 3 at 76, target 3 at 77. So our targets would be target 3 and 4 on that trade. That's not the ideal setup for the SMA trade. EMAs are moving averages are changing direction. It's not a trend pulling back into the line and moving on. Although it could be the beginning of a trend. Well, less than a minute to go. 45 seconds. For those of you trading unleaded. Okay. Okay. In the session, that is a valid long. And definitely in it. Triggering long. Now let's see if we can get up there. And stopping out. So looking for another trade yet. Unleaded, waiting for a new trade, and it's in a Nicely trending long trade. Andrew, I don't think we have settings for spotlight on soybeans. That's a counterpunch trade. So you'll have to work up to test your own settings for that one. But that if you have access to the counterpunch, that trade plan should be on the counterpunch site. Yeah, that's been something on counterpunch for a long time now. That was brought to the room by one of the participants in the room, and Troy started watching it, and it really took off. It's been a very successful. Moves a lot. Can recover. You can it can lose a few and still recover. It is a quarter point tick market. All right, crude heading up, not giving us any trades. And unleaded just off to the races. Boy, if you had been in that long trade, that would be a beauty. Looks like the unleaded trade just stopping out. See if did it get down far enough that there's a set of exhaustion dots. Now, how close? 655 to, nope, didn't get close enough to. Yeah, it was 15 ticks. There's a short on unleaded. Money man, and just a break. It looks like it's just a break even on unleaded on the short. Just touched money management. Didn't even make target one. Big moves make these hard charts a little hard to see here. There's another short on unleaded. No trigger, and trade cancels. And a long trade on crude, 111.41. That's on the full contract. No trigger yet. One close below the balance line. And the second close was above, so the trade is still valid. And triggers in. So long on crude, full contract. Money management at 54. So we got to see where it goes. Let's see what happens now. And pulling back into the 20 again. Looks like it's flattening out, so I don't know where it's going to go. Though I am giving back a lot of what it had gained this morning. Big short trade there. And money management on crude. Stop at 1142. Target at 56. We got as high as 55. And stopping out for the one tick. Within one tick of target, that would be considered a POQ and get out of the way. So that ends the session on crude. At least on the full contract. On the micro crude, let's run out here. We finally caught the trade, long trade there that stopped and reversed into a short. They need to move fairly quickly or the 50 is going to be up above in fact, the 50 is already up above our target on the micro crude. Seems like it's kind of been moving back and forth in waves. YM stopping out of that. It's runner. Unleaded signaling all kind of short trades. Finally getting a successful one here. It was just noisy. Pound Aussie short trade has canceled. The soybeans trade plan, Andrew, is a hybrid mode plan, so it uses the trend indicator and now reversing to a long on the micro crude. That actually would be an exit for second loss if you're using that part of the trade plan. If not, you are in the long trade. Crude really just not sure where it wants to go right now. And another short. At 29, so 27 would be the stop and reverse. It would be the exit point. This is trade number 3 if you're in it. So the stop and reverse would be just an exit. And stopping out. So that ends the crude session. Kind of a tough day. All right. Questions or comments? Yeah, okay. Sorry about the interruption from the microcrude. Soybeans is a hybrid mode trade plan. So, in other words, it will not allow a stop and reverse against the trend indicator. No, yeah, you're not interrupting me now that we're done with the microcrude. I was just making some correct updates on my chart. But you see the trend indicator, which is also the 20 SMA by default. So, and we have an example of it at the beginning of our trading this morning on the trade I was talking about. This long trade here, because we were in a short, the system was in a short pre-market. That trade was filtered out, but I said we're not in a trade already, so that is a valid trade, because in hybrid mode, you're only working with that trend indicator for a stop and reverse, not for a primary trade that this would be, or not for an initial trade. So this would be a valid initial long that would have gotten almost to the third target before coming back to stop out at 1651 even. But that was a long against the trend indicator, so it was filtered out as a stop and reverse. So that's what hybrid mode is. All right, folks, that pretty much wraps up all of our charts. Any other questions this morning? All right. Any other questions or comments this morning? That pretty well wraps us up. Coming up on an hour. Lots of back and there. No, let's see. Nothing yet on the pound Aussie, but I'm not going to wait around on it. Micro NQ was our problem child this morning. And often it's just one chart out of the bunch that'll be a little bit out of sync. Yes, the soybean settings trade plan should definitely be on the Counterpunch website. It's other than the trend mode setting, seems like it's pretty standard. No key level adjustments because it is a quarter point market. Minimum for money management and break even is 6 ticks, and I think that's about the only thing that's different than normal, than just a default. The trend indicator is a 20 EMA, but the trend indicator is a part of your counterpunch package unless you got it still should, the indicator still should be part of CPX or CPX2. It's certainly it's a standard filter on the full counterpunch. You can either you've got 3 modes: trend mode, normal mode, and hybrid mode. Trend mode, no trade against the trend indicator or all trades against the trend indicator are filtered. In hybrid mode, only stop and reverses against the indicator are filtered, and normal, none of the trades are filtered. But those are the only two things I can think of offhand that are not quite default on that trade plan. It's a 5 range bar, or 1.25 point momentum bar if you're on TradeStation. Let's see. I think I can go ahead and put up the. We hadn't got anything that's going on right now, so I can put those up. Let's see what. The original trade plan is a one and done, but you can also continue trading as well. It is hybrid mode. The SMA directional is set to 20, which that sets your SMA for the directional trend indicator. Standard 2-tick offset. I've got chase ticks on. If you're familiar with counterpunch, you know what that is. Maximum setup bars is 4 rather than which I think is pretty much default. Oh, that's interesting. That definitely should shake things up a bit. Yeah, stop offset is 2. Allow purple trades. 2 cancel bars is standard. 1, 1.5, 2. Break even stop. Break even ticks is 1. So yeah, 6 tick minimum to go to break even. Trail multiplier is 1, so it's start trailing at target 1. Standard 9 balance line or signal line. Yeah, nothing pretty much default, except for the 6 tick break minimum ticks for break even and minimum ticks to trail. And hybrid mode. So that should be pretty much it. All right, let's take a quick look and see. The wrong one. That's the one I want. Yeah, they've got 2 simultaneous releases showing, but they don't have a time for them. That's the interesting part. Is it 10:30? Is it 11? We got one release of last week's numbers and the release of this week's, but it doesn't say when. Makes life interesting. Tell you what, I bet. While we continue system restoration, that's oh boy. Okay, it's still in the process. Yeah. Okay, that was Monday. Yeah, I agree. But that's EIA basically is still hasn't, at least on their website, still hasn't shown a. They're still showing it delayed as a continue system restoration. Well, apparently they've got full backups. It's just a matter of they've just got to get all those backups loaded, which sometimes can take a while. And according to that release, it didn't affect the data gathering capability, only the reporting. Next release date to be determined. Yeah, okay. And really doesn't. I really don't see. Don't see much on EIA as to when they're going to be resuming normal releases. Nothing new there. See if they have anything on the schedule about. Okay, they're still showing last week is delayed, and of course we will have a Thursday next week, but no telling what they're going to do this week. Oh well, we shall see. Oh, that's good. All right. EIA Twitter account says regular time tomorrow. So that will be. It looks like we'll have a regular regularly scheduled crude oil inventory session. All right, folks. With that, then, I guess we will say goodbye until tomorrow, regular 9:30 session. And apparently there will be a 10:30 crude oil inventory report. So we will see everybody tomorrow and hope for the best.